I think my confidence comes from the mistakes I've made.
Yeah.
I'll take discipline over talent any day, you know.
Well, it's just like if you don't give up, people eventually think you're a genius.
You just bring people into your space, whether they have any affiliation to clothing or none. How did you get there?
It's what I wanted for me. I wanted to walk into a space like that where I wasn't judged by how much I knew or didn't know. And I told the team that we're going to open the door, even the older tailors, I said we're going to open the doors to all walks of life here, and we're going to treat them just like we do any top designer.
You're listening to the Mindshift podcast, and I'm here with my biggest pain. The crick in my neck, the old ball and chain. My dad, and best friend.
We're here in Brooklyn, New York, and you're going to hear some actual work happening behind us because we are in Storytellers and Creators, founded by our great friend, Arturo Castañeda. Arturo, so good to have you with us.
It's so good to be here. I'm a little nervous, guys. My first podcast.
Right, but we're in your space, so this is home court for you.
That's true. That's true.
Is this your first podcast ever?
Ever.
That's unbelievable.
This makes me even more excited.
Wow.
Which is crazy when you think about it, just on a general principle. Here's one of the most knowledgeable, creative geniuses in his field, and he's never been accessed on a podcast, which lets you know how much human genius is out there that is being unmined, untapped, and unaccessed for the world.
That leads into probably another conversation we'll have to have on why do people always turn to experts that aren't really experts?
Because they have the art of consultant.
Not the art of creativity.
That's true.
Arturo, we've known each other for maybe 7 or 8 years now.
Long time, yeah. Yeah.
But your relationship started long before I ever
We've
met
been
you.
going for about a decade, I think.
Yeah, or more.
More, yeah. We were talking about a little earlier how we started meeting across the country, first in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and then in Atlanta, Georgia, and then he came out to L.A., and then and along the way, when I've gone in and out of the fashion industry, he's every time been one of the people I've reached out to and said, hey, we're taking on something new, can you help us? And
In the fringes, I guess, in the edges, in the edge of the world.
So true, man.
yeah, but we knew you before you were Arturo.
Yeah.
I mean, you are quite a name in your world.
I don't know, but yeah, you met me when I was just Arturo, I guess.
We might do something special with this podcast. Every time Arturo talks, we're going to put an asterisk by the thing that he's too humble to actually tell you the whole story on, and then I'll interject with, this is what he's not saying. But could you give us a little bit of your story?
Yeah, well, the company is called Storytellers and Creators, LLC. I started it in 2014, and it really took form by 2018. It took 4 years of just keeping my head down and figuring it out creatively. On the business end, it was fine, but the creative part, like what we were going to do or what goals we were going to have, but it took about 4 years of just grinding it out.
It's amazing. But where did you come from? We go all the way to the beginning. What's the
Little-
origin
little
story?
bit
How
of
did you
background.
get here? How
Yeah.
did you make it to New York? To Brooklyn? What was the journey and kind of the trajectory?
And I know
of-
for many years you worked for a very famous person named Ralph. So give us a little bit of all that background.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So I was born in a border town. No, not quite. Texas and Mexico. Texico, one could say. Grew up in both countries. And grew up down there, and I was introduced into fashion. I mean, we didn't have that language for it, but I was introduced by my mom. My mom is an amazing sewer, creator, she's the best designer I've ever worked with, even till today, bar none. My mom is such an inspiration for me. And I learned my first pattern I made by probably age 12 and sewing then. Like like my first full-on pattern by myself, age 12. And that's how it began.
What was that piece?
It was a pair of shorts, giraffe print fabric from probably the secondhand store. Yeah. I remember it was giraffe because my mom made the t-shirt or the shirt and I made the shorts and I wore it to school and no one ever let me forget.
I was gonna, that didn't go well.
No, but it didn't go well, but I loved it. And as you get to know me, it didn't really, I was going to do it again, and I did it again. So,
All right, so take us from making your first pair of draft shorts to working for Ralph Lauren.
Oh, wow. Okay, so fast forward. I didn't go to school for this, but I learned the trade through my mom, the craft, and just I learned how to win from through my mom. And I helped all my siblings figure themselves out. And when that was done, I moved to New York, and I didn't know anyone.
How old were you?
I was late 20s.
Okay.
I really didn't know. Well, I didn't have language for fashion. I think the only magazine I'd ever looked through was a GQ. And I moved to New York, and I lived in my car for about 5 months, and just trying to figure out work and where I was going to live. And I just was driven, but I had everything I needed.
What car did you live in?
A Chrysler Cirrus. Yeah, super used.
You didn't have a lot of room in there.
No, but the trunk opened up. So it worked fine. I mean, I think
So
sometimes
it's a 2-bedroom.
it was it was bigger than the apartment I have now. And much more affordable here in Brooklyn. But no, that's how I started. But I share that not because I felt bad for myself, because I had everything I needed, everything I needed to make it, in that car. I had the most money I've ever had. I think like maybe $300, $400. Never had that much money to myself. It was always for the family. I'm one of 6 kids, single mom, and so it was a lot for me. But it was all there.
So you moved to New York.
Yes.
You live in the car.
Yes.
Where does the journey begin?
At a deli as a messenger, and I worked for a carpenter. Because as a Mexican, I can build anything. So pretty much all the like trades that I had learned growing up, I was a migrant worker. I picked onions, watermelon, and then worked construction, roofing. I mean, anything to help my mom make ends meet. And I used all that to catapult me forward. And my breakthrough was at the deli. This lady named Jane, who worked at a big company, big fashion company, came through, and I got to know her there. In New York, you go to the same bodega all the time. They get to know you, my name, like guys down the street, I know them. And yeah, you just get to know, and she got to know me. I was behind the counter, and but my nose was in all these magazines. I'd never heard of like all these publications like Vampire, and I mean, you name it. It was like mind-boggling that I didn't know that existed. But I felt like I belonged. I knew by the age of 12 that I was created to create. And I knew that someday I would work for Mr. Lauren.
How did you first hear of Ralph Lauren?
So a church donated school clothes for us and these large trash bags. And in the bottom of one of those trash bags was a navy polo shirt with a red pony. And that was my hope. That was everything for me. What it represented was more than just like the beautiful polo, right? That it represented that for me, I didn't have a dad. I felt like only people who wore polo had families, had a mom and dad. And it gave me hope that I would have a dad someday. And then what it did was I told my mom, I'm going to get good at this and I'm going to work for this company. And my mom was hanging clothes on the clothesline outside. And then my mom just starts crying. She goes, I believe you can do this. God is with you, and you can accomplish anything. And then she goes, and you have to dream bigger. Someday have your own, once you do that. And she just believed in me. And I told my mom that day, Mom, today is the last day we're poor. I'm no longer poor. And I said, I will never believe that for me or us. Tomorrow I'll stand in the food line again, and all the things that we do to make it. I'll go to the food pantry, and get our food. But today's the last day I'm poor. And that's what began. That's how I knew that age at 12.
What a powerful mental shift in your life. And there's just so much we could just dive in there, but I'm going to keep pressing you forward into the story because we still haven't met Ralph Lauren.
So Jane, back to Jane, I meet her at the deli, and she says to meet her at 770 Madison Avenue. And when I got there, it said J. Crew. And I was shocked. I was just, what? J. Crew? I was super shocked. I didn't know what this meant. And I remember leaving the deli, and I was still wearing my apron. I just rolled it down, and I walked in. I didn't know any better. And I got there, and I met her and some of the team, and she just said, "I see something in you." And it was the first time like a stranger or anyone who knew me had ever said they'd see someone in me or something in me. And I trusted her because I didn't know I was yearning to hear that affirmation.
So what kind of job did she give you?
Oh, well, I was the Mexican receiving the shipment in the back of a J. Crew store. How about that?
I love how you add, I was the Mexican.
Absolutely.
Because there has to be a Mexican there receiving the
Yeah,
shipment.
and that was me. It was me, a
Special
Dominican guy.
pointed position.
It was a Dominican guy, and it was the Mexican. I was a Mexican, and we were in the back of the store, and for me, it was my entry point. It was they opened the door slightly, and I knew this is the beginning. But Jane said, I see so much in you, but if you trust me, I'll put you through a development plan. I hadn't even heard what the word or the phrase development plan, or, we're going to help you. And she did. 2.5 years later, fast forward more or less, I was a candidate for the director of merchandising for J. Crew.
Oh, wow.
So I had gone from the back of the house. And let me tell you, the back of the house, I was successful and good at it because I had already worked at an onion warehouse organizing that. So I can organize cashmere pretty easy in air
You
conditioning.
organized onions.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
didn't know they needed organization. That's
For sure, to
amazing.
ship them out. Yeah,
Okay. So from onions to cashmere.
absolutely.
That just sounds like a name of a book.
I like it.
And all right, so now did you get the job?
So here's the big moment. So I'm up for the job, and Jane and Dinesh Tricka, he said, they presented the position to me because I was maybe a manager already, and they said this is a senior director position, and it's a 10-year, program, or you have to have 10 years of experience, and I didn't have it. I had 2.5, and everything my mom had taught me. So, but Jane and Dinesh said, we think you can do this. There's only one condition. You got to go first. So the interview was setting up the flagship store and turning it over, merchandising, windows, interiors, all of that. So I went first, and I did that. And I remember it was an overnight.
What do you mean you had to go first?
So there was other people interviewing for the position.
You had to interview first.
So yeah. So
Okay.
and the actual interview was doing the store.
Oh, what a great interview.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like us sitting here and like, so no, it was practical.
You had to design the store.
Yeah, and you needed to know how much, how much merchandise on the wall, how many units, how much capital can that hold, how much this display table can hold, how much capital.
So how did you figure that out, having never done that before?
Dinesh took me under his wing and believed in me.
So he taught you how.
For 3 months straight, he sat me down and taught me after work. Just beat it in me. And he was so passionate about it. And without him, I wouldn't have gotten there. I wouldn't have had the shot without him. No way. Dinesh, I don't know where he is today, but this Dinesh was key.
So you got the job?
So I did the overnight, and I'm sitting in the mall at a bench when Starbucks was cool. I went and got one, and I was sitting there, and I was very emotional because I knew I had nailed it. I knew that I was going to get a paycheck that was going to help my mom and all my siblings, and I knew I was going to be able to provide better for my family and help my mom get better care. And I just thought, I can't believe this is happening. And I was sitting on that bench, and I was getting ready to call my mom because my mom doesn't text. My mom's like old school. So I was going to call her and tell her, I did it. We've arrived. Just a reminder that I said I was going to set out to do this, and we're doing it. And I thought this was the greatest thing that could happen. And I remember there's a guy named Tim coming my way. And he says, hey, is your name Arturo? And I go, yeah. Oh, he said Arturo. So your name's Arturo? I go, yeah. And then he said, I'll be right back. Get a coffee. So he sits next to me. By the time he gets back, everything inside me is already boiling. Like, he's going to give me the job. If he's not, I'm going to beg him for it right now. So he sits next to me. And he says, hi, how are you? I wanted to meet you. And then I said, and he looks at me and says, is everything okay? And I was very emotional already. And I think my eyes were all watery. And I look at him, I said, Tim, uh, this is mine. I did the best that I could. And I don't know if anyone can do better. And I only say that because I felt so much. And this is a win for me. And then he said, oh, I don't work for J. Crew. I was like, what? I poured my heart out to a mall walker. This is a mall.
How did he know your
I
name,
looked
though?
down at his feet and he's wearing New Balance, and I'm like, this guy's walking the mall. He goes, and I asked him, like, what? Like, how do you know? And he goes, I went by the store and it looked so nice, and I asked who did it, and they said it was you. And then I was like, what? And then like I was like near crying, and then like shock and all, like what's going on here? And then he said, but you know what? And he opens his coat and he gives me his card and he says, I'm a senior vice president at Ralph Lauren, and you belong with us.
And what?
And you belong with us. So what I thought, and I'm getting a little emotional, but what I thought was the greatest thing for me, like God had bigger. And that's how I got into Ralph Lauren.
You didn't even know you were auditioning
For that. But God knew.
Yeah.
I thought I was auditioning for what I thought was the best thing ever. And I didn't know it was for something greater. And that's how I got into Ralph Lauren.
So you left J. Crew right away.
So then, I talked to Jane, and Jane and Dinesh were so good. They said, you're made for great things. And you need to go there. So they ushered me out and blessed me to go.
So what did you go do with Ralph Lauren?
So I ended up in the creative services
I thought
team.
you were going to say shipping in the back. In the Mexican collecting.
Here we go again, right?
I went from onions to polo shirts and ties.
No. It was I ended up on the creative services team, and that was a big team, amazing, talented people there, and I was able to work with the Windows team, merchandising team, and then I got to travel a little bit with them, and then I ended up at the showrooms as a concept designer for interior design for showrooms and stores. So that was my first entry. It had nothing to do with fashion.
Which is why you work with a furniture design company now.
Yeah, with domain architectural finishes. So interior design
So
is
your
in my
story
blood.
continues with that.
Absolutely. Well, that's how I started with Mr. Lauren there.
So, where did learning how to make patterns and cutting and sewing, how did that all weave into this?
Well, I was either going to be a truck driver or what I do today. That's it. Because before my dad left, my dad and I are good today. But he only had the capacity to be a dad till I was like 13. That's all he could do. So, but he was a truck driver. And I was going to do that, or I was going to sew like my mom.
No, but once you're working for Ralph Lauren, you're working on the creative team.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn how to make patterns. to do
Nothing.
that.
No. I'm interior design, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in a showroom, and
So keep unpacking it. So you're in the showroom. You're doing interior design.
so
Talk to us about
Here it
that.
is.
What was that life like?
So
what was that world
that
like?
life of interiors and merchandising and stores, and it pushed me to the utmost of like the edge of creativity. It broke me many times. I felt there was times where I didn't even know, in a very full transparency, I didn't even know what a sconce was. I remember when I entered the team, one of the directors said, "Hey, Arturo, go get the sconce from the basement." I said, "I'll be right back." And I go, "I'm just going to Google this." When I get to the basement, there's no Wi-Fi. So I'm standing there like a deer caught in the headlights looking for the sconce. What is a sconce? It's got to be a light of some sort. So then I'm going like, okay, this is here. And then, one of the cleaning guys was there, one of the maintenance guys. I go, "Hey, bro, do you know what a sconce?" Of course. Someone's that cleans every day. And he was the one that. So then I said, you know what? I'm just going to come out and be honest with the team. So I met with the manager or the senior manager, and they said, I have a lot to learn. If you can give me a shit sheet or whatever there is for me to learn the language, I go, I have the taste. I just don't have the language. And they gave me language. And was there some like rough spots here and there? Yeah, but overwhelmingly, everybody was so kind and just lifted me up and pushed me forward. and I was there all the time. I mean, I was there sun up, sun down. You couldn't ask me to work late because I couldn't leave the place. How can I not? I was so like I belonged there. It was my home. Like, how can I not stop learning?
And how many years did you do that?
I full on 10 years with Mr. Lauren.
And you ended up working very closely.
Yeah. So then
How did that happen?
so in the showroom, I had varnished the sofa, and it stood out to him in a walkthrough, and then he asked, where did this come from? And then, like I said, people were there to build, and one of the directors said, I was in another showroom over a couple of doors down, and he says, this is your chance. And I'm like, what chance? He goes, well, more like this is your moment. Ralph wants to know about this couch. Where did you get it? What did you do with it? So that was it. I walked in, and there was two vice presidents who were championing me as well, who had met me through the other team. And I was able to walk the showroom with him alone, and he asked me a lot of questions. And when we were done, the most shocking thing happens. He says, Arturo, we're joining the design team. It starts tomorrow. We need to have a meeting tomorrow. And they had brunch for me, and they welcomed me into the apparel team. And for the next 6 years, 6 days a week, I created so that he could create. And I was part of the Olympic uniforms, Wimbledon, US Open, Ryder Cup. I mean, collections, and just building concept after concept after concept.
So how does that look like in a meeting? Does Ralph come with an idea, then you all play with it, or do you guys come with ideas and Ralph plays with your ideas?
Both. But the majority is we created. So if you know the DNA and the heritage of the brand, you're going to design there's freedom and boundary.
Right.
So you can push it and bring different ideas, and they were very open.
As long as it matched the ethos.
The ethos and the culture and the leadership there is amazing. It is beyond. There's a guy named John who is utterly like amazing guy, and Jerry, Ralph's brother, was there, and they just cultivate an environment of creativity, and you just flourish in that. So we would create so that he could create, and then or he would come with an idea, and it was endless. I mean, I have notebooks and notebooks of notes and just soaking it up. Even when other of the leadership would speak, it was amazing to be part of a team of four.
Just four of you.
Just four of us and them two. And we would design everything in men's. And we were like the Navy SEALs. We were sent in any direction to design. If there was a watch that needed to be made, if there's belts, accessories, or a new collection or something edgier, you were always asked to push the limit. It's the ultimate creative place to be. Yeah. And then I left.
And what was the process of leaving, being in the inner circle with Ralph Lauren, perhaps the most iconic American designer in history?
It wasn't easy. I think it was a 2-year process for me to accept that I would never know everything. That was a big thing, that I had to accept that I was never going to know it all. And 2, that I would surround myself with people like Ralph did. So now today, like I've surrounded myself with people that are better than me. My entire team is better than I am. And that's what makes us great. And I think when I accepted those 2 things, I realized the second one is when I started, moving towards that other place. And what pushed it over was when my mom came to New York. So I bring my mom to New York. My mom had never been to New York, and my mom came, and it was a very special moment. As my mom thought I worked at a dry cleaner's as a tailor or seamstress. And my mom is real humble, and she thought I worked probably at a dry cleaner's, to be honest. And but she went to the store, and I remember I told my mom, you can get anything you want, Mom. And I had told the team that I was going to buy everything full price because I could, and I wanted, it was something for my mom and I to accomplish together. And she was in the fitting room when they called me over, and hey, your mom And I went in the fitting room, and my mom had a navy polo shirt on, and that was it. You know, she says I never forgot, and that's the day that I stopped dreaming, and I said, now we create the future. I'm going to leave Ralph Lauren because my dreams are fulfilled. I felt like my mom's dreams and mine together, that was it. And I said, I'm going to leave to do me now, right? I felt like it was, while I was at Ralph, it was my mom and I at Ralph, because my mom always wanted to design that way. And then when that was complete, then I stepped out on my own to then do me. And
So what was your dream for storytellers and creators?
it was to, well, there's a lot there, but to unpack. But I wanted to.
What was the initial dream?
The initial dream was to build a community of Latin people that could create at a luxury level. That was the first for me, because I had never seen anyone that looked like me where I grew up do this. So I thought,
Pero aquí estamos en una...
I know. Well, until you realize that there's a lot of other people out there.
Yeah.
So then it began to shift into like, let's create so that others could create. Because I found that I was in love more with the process at times than the end result. And I'm an analog designer. We have a first generation iPad.
That is being replaced after this episode.
All right, explain to us what is an analog designer.
Okay, so
I know you hate AI,
yeah, I do.
but start with analog, okay?
Okay. So analog, I guess what we mean by that is that, like, for example, if we're going to make a pattern, we're going to do it by hand and measurements. We're going to measure someone or a garment and literally physically make a pattern like the team is now, versus sitting at a computer and using programs to create the pattern. And we approach it that way, and we grade by hand. So we grade every size by hand instead of popping it into a program, which we could, but we don't. We choose to, slow fashion, I guess, analog design, and that's how we begin the process. And then development of or engineering a garment is slow as well. Choosing the fabric, testing all kinds of embroideries, as you guys know.
And Aaron and I are very proud to say that everything we pretty much ever made was analog with you and Jessica and the team here. Everything has been sewn and cut and patterned here, and it's very, it feels like a throwback, but it also feels so beautifully human.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part of it. It's like when you all come in and other clients come in, there's this like community that happens, and it's hard to describe because some people say we're a factory and we're not. That's an element that we do.
No, people want you to be a factory.
I think they do want me to behave as a factory.
Yeah.
But I think we've changed that language here. We've changed that culture so that the team is respected. We don't use titles here. We use creators. Everyone is a creator or a storyteller on the team. There's only one person that does have a title because she literally directs us physically, is Jessica.
And her title is your boss.
And she is my
And
boss.
she is directly behind me, right there.
And she is the boss.
And we have permission to use this space and to bother her.
Brought to you by Jessica.
Podcast.
Yes.
One name.
You guys, she'll sit in for a sec or two, but she is the boss.
Are you allowed to say some of the great designers and brands that have worked out here?
Yeah.
Well, before we get, can we hold? Because I think we skipped COVID. And we need to talk about COVID.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna go back.
Do we have to? Because this is how this is how we
Chop it up.
Because I do want to get into everything, but I feel like we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
So, when you created Storytellers and Creators,
Yes.
what did that look like initially in 2014, 16?
It was all tailoring.
Okay.
It was all tailoring. I was tailoring my own clothes, my own clients. I had a lot of bespoke clients. A lot of suiting was very dominant before COVID. And then people started liking what they were seeing, and designer friends started asking me to make their patterns. And that was already established that we were going to do that. But it just continued to grow and grow and grow. And it was mainly tailoring. We were doing so much, like, I don't know. I think it was like 85% tailoring, and now it's flipped, completely because of COVID. But
And tailoring, of course, is suits.
suiting, yes, as we know, it's suiting, trousers, waistcoats, yeah.
More like formal.
Formal.
Wear, yeah.
So what did the business look like right before COVID? And then going into COVID, can you take us through that season?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's some stories there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories, political stories too. But anyways,
That's for the Mindshift podcast community.
for sure.
It's behind the veil.
But no, I think we were full on into tailoring. We were helping out with Tom Brown. Tom Brown was just getting his started. They were outsourcing to us some of the coats, and we were also helping Martin Greenfield a little bit, which is an amazing old school legend. He passed away a few years ago, but his son's still running it. We were able to help or come assist their teams as we were working on our stuff. So, like I said, it was a lot of just Navy suits. I was sharing with some of the newer team here that for 3 years, I must have produced like thousands of Navy suits and gray suits. And it was like year after year. And there was a point where I felt like, do I loathe what I do now? Because I felt like I have more to offer, but it wasn't being asked of me. So I didn't want to force the business to do something that wasn't being asked of the business. So I was flowing with it, and it was about 3 years. And little did I know that those 3 years was going to make us so much better for everything that was coming. Because everything that we do, if we make a hoodie, socks, or whatever it is, we incorporate tailoring into it. And our lens is through tailoring, which just elevates everything that we do. A hoodie's a hoodie, but not for us. We take it to the next level in a different way. We approach it and give it the same respect that a bespoke suit requires. So I think those 3 years really prepped me for what we love to do now.
So then COVID happens.
Then COVID happens. COVID was a shocker. Everybody has a different story. For us, we were called to produce PPE for New York City. Okay. We were one of the 3 factories that Como and de Blasio talked about on CNN every day. Wow. We didn't even know we were going to be one of those factories. We didn't know we weren't privy to what was being said or televised, but we were one of the 3 leading factories. We were producing 30,000 gowns a week. From a bespoke suit to medical gowns. And every day we got a call that we were going to die. And that we needed to produce more because everyone in New York was dying. I mean...
And this is coming from the government officials calling you guys, going,
yeah,
we need the quota to go up, we need you to produce more gowns.
Meetings, right? We went from like bespoke suiting meetings, to garments, to like saving people's lives. And then they were adamant about us hiring more people and more people. We hired 150 people. We went from a bespoke team of 12, 14 to 150 people. That was an endeavor that I don't think I ever experienced. I experienced COVID a different way. But we look like astronauts going to work. 150 people. like we're walking on Mars, right? Here comes everybody had a hazmat suit.
You were the essential workers.
We were the
no one else was allowed
and
to
we
go
had
out.
and we had these like big badges we had to wear.
You had the documents,
issued.
you had the people, yeah.
We had like it was like 28 years later, like that type of it felt like the end of the world had happened. And then you only see these like ghosts going to the facility to go work. The best thing that came out of COVID was Jessica. Jessica was one of those ghosts. In mask, in gowns, she was in there. Wow. She was a diamond in the rough. But so we're producing 30,000 gowns a week. I don't know how many masks a week. And we
How long did you do that for?
Until, I don't know, when they opened the city again. How many months was it? 4 months? Okay. And it was every day. Wow. No, every day. It was Sunday through Sunday. Every single day, 2 shifts. We'd start at 5 a.m. and then the next shift would come in the afternoon. And all the way till 1, I was sleeping like 4 or 5 hours a day running this. And we had to report numbers religiously. because then we realized that the numbers they were saying were the numbers we were producing, and in 2 other facilities, and we had to pack them. We weren't prepared for the logistical part of it. Like all of a sudden, we had floor to ceiling 30,000 gowns and boxes, and like.
I had met you a few years before in LA when you would come do your client work in LA and visit. But when we reconnected, you had invited me out. You had invited us out to come out right before Christmas, and I think it was 2020.
Yeah.
And so I got to visit, I guess, those offices at the time, and that was a massive facility.
Massive.
That you guys were
Yeah,
running.
It was massive.
It
It
was
was
huge.
not for us, but we did it anyways.
Right, but you had. I think I remember hearing stories of how many sewers did you guys have?
Well, like-
Creators that you were 30,
Yeah, it was-
40 people, and then
There was 150 people.
but then you had all the frat boys doing all the packaging.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
have
So
to
you
get-
didn't know Jessica.
I did not know Jessica.
So she was one of 150 people that are now working for you.
Yes.
What made her stand out above 150 people, all wearing hazmat suits and masks?
Here's what it was. One day, on a Sunday, some people didn't come, and we still had to produce those 30,000 gallons, pack them in the back of a semi, and send them over, like ship them out, because we had to report those numbers. They were honest for those numbers, and there was intense, guys. Like in hindsight, yeah, we'll laugh now, but then it was like it was terrifying.
Yeah.
They were they were talking about these refrigerated trucks, and we had to produce more and more. So they wanted us to scale like manufacturing in the U.S. right at like 30,000 gallons. So then it was a Sunday night, and I didn't have enough help. And I don't know how Jessica found that out, but she showed up, rolled up her hazmat suit, took it off, rolled up her sleeves, kept the mask on, and that girl packed so many guns. She made it happen. She started mobilizing and encouraging. She knew I was exhausted. She knew I had hit my limit, and she took it on herself to get those gowns out because she knew the next day we were going to report numbers. That day or that night, I go, you're going to the morning shift. She was on the night shift, which is I'm already tired. I'm not noticing people. And that girl came in, and then what do you do? Who are you?
And now she's your business partner.
Absolutely.
I just think it's an important side note because a lot of people wonder why they're never picked. Why they still feel invisible. Or maybe flipping it, they're asking, how can I be seen?
Yeah.
How can I be promoted? And the real answer is, of 150 people, she showed up. And she did what she was not asked to do, went above and beyond, and made it impossible for you not to see her.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't have. You could not know. You could. She took off the hat mask. Well, that was one. She took off the hazmat suit, literally takes it off because she said, we need to get this done. This ain't going to happen. So she takes it off. Everybody took it off. I took it off. Took it off. And she went at it and probably single-handedly saved that week. And I asked her what she did, and she said, I actually went to fashion school. I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, I went to fashion school. And I said, in my mind, I said, she's staying on this team when this is over. We're going to reopen. Because I was already getting wind of the internal happenings and political aspect of this, being in those meetings. And I said, I'm keeping Jessica. For sure. That was the best thing that came out of that.
So you now come full circle where you have 150 people doing a job that you never intended to be doing. You have a company that's basically a manufacturing company.
Yes.
And medical supplies.
Yeah, PPE, yeah, for sure. We learned it all.
From suits to some of the most expensive suits I've ever seen to
to
medical garments.
Yeah, to a gown.
So how did you make a hard right turn back to out of that into the post-COVID world?
Well, I think prior to that, there was already rumblings of who we were in the industry. And JP, John Peterson, great guy. He's like a brother to me. He was my intern at Ralph, and he's the best thing that I took from Ralph. He's still with me, and he said, "Hey, there's a couple brands that are asking what you do. Do you want me to make the intro?" And one of those brands was Who Decides War, and they were just coming out with their first. They were already existing, but they had rebranded to that, and they showed up, and then Bodhi showed up. So all of that happened as soon as the lights came back on.
Yeah, I think one of the first times I came here, it was Bodie everywhere.
Yeah.
Patches everywhere.
It was
Jackets. It was, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that with that team and her, they were so beautiful, and they were in the process of going to the next level, and we were able to be a part of that, and as much as we could help in that area.
I've also seen some very interesting pieces here. I think you guys made some of the dresses for Kamala.
Yes, we did. We shared the platform with Christopher John Rogers. Christopher John Rogers called us, and he was generous enough to share the platform with us, and we co-designed or designed the Kamala Harris inauguration looks. There was a couple jackets and a dress. And
How many dresses did you make for her?
I think it was 1 or 2 dresses, 1 or 2 jackets, and a coat. Yeah.
I think I also saw a suit here that belonged to David Beckham.
Was it David? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
very specifically. Sorry, I remember these things because
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by what I find on the mannequins.
There have been several, cool people we worked with, yeah, for sure.
So you've had different iterations and eras of storytellers and creators.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you find? Because what I love about coming here and working with you is I get to learn. I feel like I come in, you show up, and you just go, okay, well, what can you teach me? And if you stick around here long enough, you learn a little bit of everything. What's some of like the joy that you find in teaching? Because there's something about you that is so you're just so natural. You just bring people into your space, whether they have any affiliation to clothing or making pieces or none, right? And I think I was someone who had a great desire to learn, but maybe didn't know that much, and you just were like, okay, cool. First day I'm on cutting patterns, and I have no idea what anything is, and Jessica's like, stop cutting your scissors, stop clicking these things, stop doing this, and you just had such a great teaching culture. How did you get there? How did you do that? How did you create this incubator space?
I think I wanted it's what I wanted for me. I wanted to walk into a space like that, and where I wasn't judged but by how much I knew or didn't know, and I told the team that we're going to open the door. Even the older tailors, I said we're going to open the doors to all walks of life here, and we're going to treat them just like we do any top designer, and we're going to love them through it, whether they come back or not. And I think it's just welcoming people as they are when they walk in, and it's a safe space. Anything that happens here, whether they know or don't know, it stays here, and we're here to grow together. And we don't know everything, because there's something that you all bring, like what you did today when we were designing. Like, you blew me away with that, with the pocket idea. Like, that is like not going to leave me. So it's like those moments I take back too. Like, I get out of it as much as you all do, or anyone who walks in. Yeah.
All right, so if we could now go maybe a little big picture, just for a few minutes, what are some of the key principles that you've seen in exceptional design?
Wow. I think it's honoring heritage. So I think when a designer or a brand honors the heritage of their brand, the design is so much better, because it keeps the DNA of who they are, but it pushes into something bigger. But it's within that, within their. It doesn't become something that they're not. It makes it better. Like, excellent or beautiful design, it's honoring their own heritage.
All right, so let me take you a step back, because you start working with a lot of designers at the beginning.
Yes.
They don't have a heritage yet. So how do they, in a sense, discover their heritage? How do they decide who they are? How do you help them through that process?
I think it now, when you go that far back, or when it's someone new, it's about their morals, their values, and what drove them to arrive through those doors. What brought them to those doors is their heritage, is where they're going to begin to form their brand name. If we're doing a naming exercise that has nothing to do with making clothes yet, or what is the core values or the morals or the mission statement or vision statement and all those things, it has to do with who they are as a person. And we try to extract, by listening, to their story. Like, I just shared my story with you, and you can already begin to shape who I am. and we listen to their story. It has really nothing to do with clothing. It has everything to do with their essence and who they are as a human being, and we extract that to build that brand.
What would you say are the core values of creators and storytellers and creators?
Our core values, well, our name is Storytellers and Creators. We come alongside brands to tell their story and create it. And I think that in itself, I wanted to make it so simple, right? And simple is very difficult. The hardest garments are the simple ones, not the complicated, distressed ones, or it's the simple ones that give us the headaches. But for sure, another hoodie. It's the perfect hoodie. But I think for us is loving the process. If we deviate from that, we're completely lost. If we don't love it, we're probably not going to make it. And have we said no to projects? We have lots of projects, lots of beautiful ideas, and it's just not for us. We're not for everyone, and not everything's for us.
Okay. We were walking the streets yesterday, and we were having a conversation, or maybe it was 2 days ago. We were in New York City, in the city, and we were talking about this. I was asking you about an interview you had just done about why do you answer questions the way you answer questions, and you had kind of given the short answer about honesty, about you feel like the people who answer the questions the best are the people who answer it honestly, and I was like, no, it has to be deeper than that, because the way you answer questions are human. And we've had this internal conversation around the 7 frequencies and this idea of like being a professor, people who are just naturally professorial. I find you to be someone who's naturally a teacher. You will bring someone aside and go, hey, I'm going to connect you with Jessica, learn. Stay with her, watch everything you do, and then I'll chime in and help you get these little things. But one of the things you brought up in that conversation was we feel like, I think the greater audience, the greater community feels, or people in the world right now are always turning to these like bad professional experts, always looking for that coach, always looking for that counselor. But what is it about honesty and humanity and the way that you guys both look at creativity and make it human versus this looking up or being up and looking down and speaking down towards people? I don't know if that makes sense. How is it that you take this approach of being so excellent at both your crafts and making it such a point of value to bring people that are young, that know nothing about things, and then crafting them into something creative?
I mean, one of the things that comes to my mind being in here is the tension of, or the difference between wanting to impress people and wanting to have an honest expression of yourself. And I think in life, so oftentimes, whether it's even designing clothes or creating a talk or writing a book or making a film or just living life, a lot of us spend so much of our energy actually answering the wrong question: how do I impress someone? And sometimes Aaron will tease me, from my maybe lack of awareness of all the trends that are out there and things like that. But I care more about like what is an expression of what I consider beautiful or meaningful, or an expression of who I am and who we are. Like I'm more interested in us just going, we love that. And if no one else in the world loves it, that's okay. And not feel the pressure of, but we have to sell it, so we have to sell in some sense we have to sell our souls to be able to sell the product. And I'm like, well, then we've jumped to being, generic rather than being genuine. And so I think that's a part of it, is even when you're answering questions, it's like, I think the reason a lot of people answer questions and they don't connect is they're trying to impress you with how smart they are. Wow. Rather than really be authentic and truthful, like tell the truth about how this truth has changed me, or if it hasn't, how it impacts me, or whether it hasn't. And I think you and I were talking earlier, because I said some of it is asking questions, and you said, but you asked the right questions.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a part of what we should explore, is how do we get to the place where we can ask the right questions? I think it's also true in design, right? And some days when we're sitting in there, I'm like overwhelmed. I mean, you show me 80 buttons.
We went to a fabric store yesterday, and I saw the look on your face.
Yeah, it's just so many fabrics, right? And they're all beautiful, and I tend to have a very expansive sense of beauty. I can see beauty in almost anything in life. So it's not like, oh, which one do you like? I like them all. They're just not all me, you know. And so yeah, I had to tap out. It was like, for me, it was overload, you know. And but I think that happens to a lot of people. It's like there are so many options out there that if you're trying to figure out what should I like, rather than what do I like.
Yeah, it's taste.
Yeah, it's just about taste, and you have to have some to trust it. Because I think one of the unique things about you, and I think one of the things that probably Ralph saw in you when you did that sofa, is that you have a perspective, and you have great confidence that your perspective is tasteful, that there's an elegance to it, that there is a statement that should be made through your art, and so you have a humility, but you also have a certainty. I wouldn't even, you know, because someone might call that as like cockiness, but I actually think you have a certainty of your perspective. A person can reject your perspective, but they will understand your perspective. And it's come from an informed place, not an uninformed place.
Yeah.
And
From a lot of mistakes. You know, I think my confidence comes from the mistakes I've made.
yeah.
And I'll take discipline over talent any day, you know, any day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. That's something we talk a lot about, is that, you know, if you stay at something long enough, people will think you're incredibly talented.
I think that's the case for me.
You know? Well, it's just like if you don't give up, people eventually think you're a genius.
When you're looking to create, what are a few things that are inspiring to you? What are things that you look towards? What are you looking at in the world?
Well, I think it might sound a little, well, no, I think you guys relate. It speaks to me. Like, we're in that fabric store. There's a fabric that will just call my name out. I feel like it's, like, I think you give it personality or you give it character.
Yeah, I said this one speaks to me.
Yeah. So it's like, I think for me, it could be essentially anything, but that, like right now I'm hooked on cream and off-white, that color, and off-white and cream. There's a coffee shop in Greenpoint called Paloma, and they use that color palette. And I'm stuck on it. And until I make something cream and red, I won't get over it. So I don't know what it's going to be, but that's going to be something I make. So it could just be a combination of colors, or, I mean, I think creativity, I mean, I was born to create. I was created by the ultimate creator, and I think I'm always in that zone. Am I always on point with it? Probably not, but I'm in that space mentally all the time. Yeah.
One of the things I really like that you do is when we're working with you and we're toying around with a lot of ideas, you'll have a way of going, if you stay in these parameters, you're staying in what is like known or acceptable, or it's consistent.
Like what's been done before,
It's
and what's
been
being
done,
done
but
right
also
now.
like what's expected or accepted. You know, you win. You know, like this is a sure win.
Yes.
If you go outside of this in either direction, now you're talking editorial, but you might lose.
Yes.
And that's actually really helpful to me, because I love knowing the parameters of, you know, where the sweet spot is in fashion or whatever it may be, right? You know, and it's also true, like in writing. I know there's a writing style there, you know, that there's parameters, and you can win if you write in that, but it's not avant-garde. It's not editorial. You're writing a textbook, in a sense. And we could design something that everything stays in the parameters, but we really then haven't made any statement. We've just made the same thing.
Yes, I think I like calling that out, because sometimes when creators like y'all come and you're in it so deep, sometimes it's hard to see the trees for the forest and the forest for the trees. So then I will gently say, this is good, and this is where, you know, this is where everyone lives, as you said. And if you swing right or left, then either going to hate you or love you.
Yeah, I think with me, you just try to sometimes say you should do something that's in the inside of the the constant space.
Yeah, I think so.
Make sure you have one toe.
Yeah,
In,
to sell it.
It's just like we went and got some ice cream today, right?
Yes.
And we both wanted self-serve.
Yes.
And then, but they had all these fancy descriptions on the soft serve. No idea what was on it.
I didn't even know how to read it.
And of course, she had an Australian or British accent or something.
She's from somewhere.
Yeah, well, not from around here.
No, across the pond.
And after the 8th time she said it, I realized what she was saying is the soft serve sundae was tomatoes with olive oil
And sea salt.
and sea salt. And both you and me looked at each other like, no.
I went straight for the window for help.
Finally, I said, "Are you saying tomatoes?" She goes, "Yes." And I said, "No."
No, I'm good. I don't want a salad.
I'm looking for ice cream, not a
I
salad.
would say that's an editorial Sunday,
It is.
right?
It is.
But
Yeah.
the vanilla ice cream is the constant that's a win.
Absolutely.
So we went ahead and took off the editorial
We did. We went for
and
the
had the best
Vanilla-
self-serve vanilla ice cream.
because, like I say, it's so difficult to do simple, and they nailed simple.
was perfect.
So what's disguised as basic and simple is not.
Right. But there's so much to learn in that. That the tomato, olive oil, and sea salt might have been awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And it will be for someone.
Yes.
But it wouldn't be awesome if it didn't have great vanilla ice cream in it.
Yeah. So
They
we
had
were-
to start with the basic being perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it had to be perfect.
And then I think they editorialized to the point where I'm never buying it.
I don't like vegetables in my ice cream.
Yeah. I mean,
You ever watch two men go, oh, absolutely not, no, and just turn their back?
No, we went straight for the window. Can we get it plain?
but let me give you the parallel to me in fashion.
Okay.
From a soft serve vanilla with tomatoes, sea salt, and olive oil. It's a pair of shoes that look awesome and kill your feet, and you only wear them once
Yeah. Yeah, that's
because they look beautiful and they seem like they should work perfectly. And they convinced you to take them home. And when you tried them on, well, they fit okay, but you didn't walk 10 steps. Yeah. And then later on, you realize these shoes are so editorial that they have no functionality at all. Yeah. I think that's the fun thing about fashion is trying to find that place where someone wants to wear it when they want to look special.
yeah.
But they want to wear it every day when they want to feel comfortable. And that's a really hard intersection.
It is. It is.
Okay, so one thing that I find really special about being in your space is your relationship not only with the people that are coming in to create and to develop with you, but the people who are actually making the physical garments.
Yeah.
You guys are one big family.
We are.
And I think before I ever made anything with you personally, I helped you vacuum. I had lunch with Jay and
Yeah.
Caesar and the crew, and you just did everything together.
I think, before we move on, I was going to mention that because that impacted, I think there might be a perception you both are so successful. I'll speak to you, Aaron, like podcasts, manages businesses and the church, all these things that you do. But you walked in here and you picked up the broom and the vacuum, and everyone here was shocked because you're one of us. And I think that every time we say you all are coming, it's like they lead with, we really like Aaron. They do. They like Erwin too. It's okay. But
I understand.
I think because they look at you, some of the team looks at you like in awe, or because you've done great things, but when you walked in that, you showed your humility and that you're just like part of the team, and that really changed a lot of like things within our team. We talk about it. We know the people that see us as who we are and not a factory. You've never treated us as a factory, and you could easily have done that. We probably would have closed the door, but
But I meet people in the wild, it makes me emotional.
yeah.
That you say that.
No, because you showed a lot of love for us, and we love you. And every single person here who probably is not noticed in the world, notice you and your love for them, because you vacuumed. That's big for us. Anybody who wants to join our team, better know how to vacuum. You know?
But I didn't mean it for a compliment, but I mean this, that like you have this, it's all hands on deck. Like if anything, the guys who build the garments, they don't vacuum.
No,
They're treated like they're
as they should be.
as the scientists.
They are.
Right? So they come in, they're professionals and they're specialists. They come in, they execute, and then they say goodbye. They take
They
off.
do.
And then the creators, or the more on the front facing side of it are expected. And I've met guys at events here in New York or in LA who know you, know the team, and love to flex. Oh, I worked with them. Oh, I worked with them, and I'm like, God, you didn't vacuum. Like,
Yeah, I know.
not that that's like, but I was like, you know the guys, like Christian, or the guys who you know who stay, or JP, who stay late, come early, and take care of the team.
Yeah, we have
Like, how'd you build that culture?
because I remember when the team was already kind of established, I cleaned the toilets, I vacuumed, I sent everyone home, and I stayed back. And I said, I'm never going to ask anyone to help me do this until they see that this is not just a little gimmick. I'm going to do this every day, and then they're going to slowly join me. I never asked Jessica to stay late when she joined the team. Jessica came up to me and said, she's our director, and the only director we've ever had. But she said, I want more. I want what you have. I want to be where you're at. I want your eye. And she knew that my eye started with the vacuum and cleaning the bathroom. And that's what she did. No, I never asked Jessica one time to clean the bathroom. She cleaned it herself. She realized he never goes home until it's clean, because the next day they come in as it was never touched. And that's part of the culture that I had with Mr. Lauren. You know, we set him up to create. So that's what I wanted to do for my team. So I do exactly what I did back then. I'm here to serve the team to the utmost. And I don't want Jay, Piedad, Cesar, or Antonio, much less, who was my first team member, to ever do that.
And I know that it changed so much, because I came out end of 2020, and I remember staying in the hotel when I remember getting off the plane, calling Dad, and this was 2 weeks before Christmas, and I'm getting yelled at by the National Guard getting off the plane, going, if you don't tell us, you better tell us where you're staying, where if you've had COVID vaccine. Like, we're getting verbally yelled at by military men with like machine guns stepping off a United flight at JFK. And I'm like, Dad, what the heck did you send me to come do? You're like, I just sent you to go see my friend, to go see what they're building over there. And then we get into the space, and it wasn't just remarkable. I mean, it was the most beautiful space, and it's so creative and so special, and there's young people, and there's old people, and there's everybody just collaborating together. But there's also this like culture of humility, and this culture of service, and culture of community. And there was this like high standard for, we clean our space, we're organized, we make sure our business is taken care of, we treat people with respect. The conversations were much more about how we treat each other than it was what we're making even. And you could see that the product of what you were making was so reflective in the culture and the community. And I remember getting to work on that. Do you remember that crazy camouflage puffer jacket Christian did for a little baby?
Yeah.
And do you remember, like,
It was a 100-piece pattern.
it was this,
Oh my
like,
goodness.
hand-cut puffer with how many layers of camouflage, like, sewn on top of
Yes.
each other?
It must have weighed at least, like, I don't know, 30 pounds, 40 pounds.
It was insane. And I remember insane going, like, I think there's 10 people working on that singular, like, one jacket, taking like 3 days. And I was like, oh, this is special. Like, we're building artifacts. We're building things that will last in time.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
rest of history.
Yeah, and actually we don't throw anything away. We keep all the scraps, and we reuse them till we can't. You know, so.
You have given me an entirely new metaphor for couture. Because you mentioned your bathroom, and your bathroom is a wreck. It's broken.
Yeah.
But we go to the store, and you look, and you're inspired by the store. You go, I'm gonna put a chandelier in the bathroom. I said, why don't you put a toilet in the bathroom? That's couture. It's a chandelier without a toilet. It's beautiful, but it doesn't work.
It's more of an outhouse than a
That's
actual
amazing.
toilet.
And, I think we've had a great conversation.
I hope that this is the first of many.
Thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate it. And thanks for letting us be in your space.
Yeah, for sure. You're welcome anytime.
And so if
Jessica.
if a designer or a aspiring designer wanted to contact you, Is there a way they can do that, or is that an invitation we should not make here?
No. Jessica's gonna kill me. But yes, they can contact us, email us, or email me at Arturo@storytellersandcreators.com.
All right, and I would say only use the gift of this podcast and this connection if you're serious.
Yeah.
If you're serious, because
Well, it won't matter. He'll know if they're serious.
right, no, but I don't want people reaching out to you that, going, oh, save my dream.
Yeah.
I want people to go, I have a dream, I'm going to pursue it no matter what.
Then we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
I love it. Any last words?
No, this is cool. Never done one of these, so I always watch you all, but it's cool to be in it.
So the next episode we do, we'll have Jessica come and sit down and do episode 2 of this
no,
and get
yeah.
into the story from her perspective.
For sure.
All right, hey, we love you, brother.
I love you guys.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Mindshift podcast with our amazing friends at Storytellers and Creators, Arturo, and my amazing dad, Erwin McManus. You guys can rate and review this podcast. Go to the YouTube. If you guys want to see what space we are in, there's a whole wall of patterns. There's amazing machines all around us and people functionally working. And there's some dogs that hate each other running around here, Ralph and Boris. Guys, we will be back here in New York talking about all the things we're doing with Ghost Artifacts and all the projects we have together. And the next time we're here, we have to talk about your new brand.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you guys next week on Mindshift Pod.